Good afternoon, everybody. So oil changes are a part of our not everyday life, but we all drive cars and drive we all drive our cars fairly often. The average commute is said to be probably about 28, 29 minutes long in America. So as far as oil changes goes, synthetic versus conventional. I know that there's a lot of controversy about the two. A lot of the, I guess, older school people say that just to stick with conventional, because probably back in like the 70s and 80s, when we first started using it in cars, um, the oil itself would tend to sludge up in the engines and cause major problems. But thanks to new technology, synthetic is a lot better than conventional oil, even though and it's not really that much more expensive if you do change it yourself. Um, so our points today, synthetic versus conventional, which one is best? Is synthetic actually worth the price that most places charge to put in your car? Alright, it is better than conventional oil, but and especially in the newer cars, um, it's best to check with your manufacturer if you do have an older car before, I think, 1990, but I don't think any of us do. Uh, so what is the difference between synthetic and conventional motor oils? Now that is a big thing, because synthetic, even though the base oils are still the same, the manufacturing process is a lot different. So synthetic oil is known to last longer, and actually a good bit longer than conventional motor oil between changes, but the question is, how much longer? And especially dealing with pricing per year, how much longer how much does that actually save you as far as money goes? And last, what we'll be talking about, is it safe to switch? Is it safe to go from conventional to synthetic or synthetic to conventional? So the first topic is the price. So Valvoline has been voted the best oil by the Top 10s, which is a website that they just take and make a list of the top 10 different products. So 5 quarts of 5W30 synthetic oil, of course made by Valvoline, is going to run you about $19.97 at your local Walmart, and versus $15.27 for the same brand, just in conventional oil. So it's about $4, maybe $5 difference. So it doesn't sound like a lot, but that can be a good bit when you're talking about on a yearly basis. And if you don't do your own oil changes, most places I know around here, your Shell Quick Lube, I wouldn't suggest going to Walmart, and different places like that. They'll charge you from about $30 to $40 for a conventional oil change, and when you go into the synthetic oils, that'll go up to $60 to $80. Alright, so makeup of the synthetic oil. Alright, synthetic oil is pure. It's a lot purer than conventional oil, according to Mobil Oil Company, which makes a lot of synthetics and synthetic blends. Synthetic oil is distilled, purified, and broken down, and they break it down to the molecular level. So they break it down to its just finest parts and make it to where the molecules in the oil are consistent. When you get with conventional oil, you might have a larger molecule or something with a little bit more impurities, or you might have a good bit smaller molecules. But when synthetic oil, you don't have to worry about that. It's all the same all across the board. It's not completely pure, but it's as pure as we can get it. So after it's broken down, we have additives and stuff that help break down the carbon deposits and whatnot in that build up in your engine. So putting synthetic oil can actually help clean up your engine. However, in older cars, it will some of the deposits can be used for like seals. So if you do put synthetic oil in your older car, those seals will break down and you can start to have oil leaks and your oil will start running up, which is not good. So conventional oil is still good oil, but synthetic is a lot better. They both have different additives and whatnot. So longevity, how long does each one last? So synthetic oil is for the most part known to last a lot longer than conventional. Conventional oil, most manufacturers recommend changing your oil between 3,000 and 5,000 miles. Maybe a little bit longer, if you can't, get over and change your oil. That means you'll probably be changing it about 3 to 4 times a year, which I think that adds up to probably about maybe $150, $175 a year on top of, gas going out of your way and whatnot. So according to Newsroom, the average American drives 13,000 miles a year. That deals with and I just lost my train of thought. Anyway, apologies on that. So with synthetic oil, it will last between 5,000 and 7,000 miles. Now I know a lot of truckers, they can go way up to 15,000 and 20,000 miles in their 18-wheelers, but that is mainly because of the way that they drive. They're driving at a consistent speed most of the time for longer amounts of time. A lot of our driving consists of, if we're in the city, it's stop and go, stop and go, stop and go, and that's not good on your engine. If you can, make sure you go at a consistent speed the best you can. All right. So mixing and switching of oils. It's best if you go ahead, not try to go from conventional to synthetic blend to synthetic, just go straight on to synthetic oil. But I've heard of some people trying to water down their oil, trying to make it cheaper, and that's not a good idea. The oils are compatible with each other, but the synthetic oil will sometimes counteract with the regular conventional oil, and that's not good, because the synthetic oil, it will not be able to break down the carbon deposits and whatnot that build up in your engine. So it's best if you can either run synthetic or full synthetic, or like a high mileage if you have a older car, or run strictly conventional. So last, in conclusion, although more expensive, at one time synthetic is cheaper in the long run, because you have fewer oil changes throughout the year. Synthetic oil lasts longer and it does not break down as easily in the engine as conventional does. And last, be sure to follow your manufacturer's specifications as far as oil changes, oil weights, and change intervals. So that is all.
That's good.